Rising Waters by John van der Wolf. The flooding of rivers, seas, and oceans is a danger to the population of the coastlines. With global warming, the risk of flooding is increasing. What can we do to avoid flooding? What should we do during and after a flood? Different kinds of floods. Some rivers flood every year, but the flooding is controlled. The Egyptian civilization started along the river Nile, which was the only fertile part of the country. The river irrigated the land, and the rest of the country remained a dry desert. Thanks to the Nile, the Egyptian civilization developed. Other ancient cultures grew up along flooding rivers too. Mesopotamian, the Tigrias rivers, Indian, the Indus and Ganges rivers, and China, the Yellow River. However, when a river floods unexpectedly, the river floods towns or cities, and the inhabitants need to save their possessions and sometimes even their lives. Strong floods can happen during monsoons, tropical rain, hurricanes, or by warm weather, melting snow in high mountains. Unexpected floods can happen when a dam breaks or when there is a landslide caused by an earthquake. Along the coast, a storm, hurricane, or cyclone can cause floods. A tsunami happens when there is an undersea earthquake. A strong tsunami can cause such a high wave that it destroys houses in a fraction of a second. Dangers of floods. A flood can cause serious damage in different ways. Floods can destroy bridges, houses, buildings, cars, and roads. A flood can kill people, pets, and cattle. The indirect effects of a flood are also serious. It may be difficult or impossible to find clean drinking water. Usually after a flood, water can get contaminated with dirty water, waste, or even dead animals. Contaminated water can spread diseases like cholera and cause people and animals to die. Floods may also destroy farmlands and crops. This means there will be less food available in the region. In the long term, a flood can affect the economy of a region because farmland and factories are destroyed, or because tourists won't go to a place that was recently flooded. Recent flood disasters. Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina was one of the worst natural disasters in U.S. history. It devastated the Gulf Coast of the United States around New Orleans in late August 2005. In New Orleans, the evacuation plan was crucial because the region is located below sea level, up to 2 meters in some places. There were levees or dikes to prevent floods, but the dikes were designed for a Category 3 hurricane, and Katrina was a Category 4 with winds of up to 225 kilometers an hour. More than 1 million Gulf Coast residents were evacuated. Many of the refugees were poor and they lost everything they had. An estimated 1,800 people died directly or indirectly because of the hurricane. Katrina affected an area of 233,000 square kilometers, about the same size of the United Kingdom. About 80% of the city of New Orleans was underwater, up to 6 meters deep in some places. Hurricane Katrina caused $75 billion in estimated physical damages, the most costly hurricane in history. After the hurricane, many people lost their jobs, farms and factories disappeared, and tourists stopped coming to the city of New Orleans. A tsunami in Southeast Asia. On December 26, 2004, one of the biggest natural disasters in history occurred in Southeast Asia. A seaquake in the Indian Ocean caused an enormous tsunami. The tsunami hit many countries. Over 200,000 people died and hundreds of thousands lost all their belongings, most of them in Indonesia. A tsunami is a series of waves caused by an underwater earthquake, a volcanic eruption, or the impact of a meteor. The surface of the earth consists of different plates moving along each other. Normally, these movements happen very slowly, just a few centimeters per year. When these plates suddenly start rising or falling, or they collide with each other, an earthquake occurs. The energy of the plates is transformed to the water above. This causes a seaquake. When the tremor has a magnitude of 7.5 on the Richter scale, the seaquake can cause a tsunami. The tsunami produces a very strong wave with a possible height of 30 meters. When the wave hits the land, it destroys everything. Several smaller waves may occur later, but such a large magnitude seaquake is very rare. When the tsunami hit in 2004, there was no warning system in Indonesia. Now there is. When a seaquake happens, advanced systems notice the tremor and send a message to a satellite. In seconds, people receive a warning over the radio and TV. Below you will find a list of other large tsunamis in recent history. August 27, 1883, a volcanic eruption caused a tsunami. 36,000 people were killed on the islands of Java and Sumatra. June 15, 1896, a seaquake near Japan caused a tsunami. There were 27,000 victims. April 1st, 1946, an earthquake in Alaska caused a tsunami. 159 people died, most of them in Hawaii. July 9th, 1958, the heaviest tsunami in recent times was in Alaska. It claimed only a few lives because the tsunami occurred in a deserted area. May 22, 1960, an earthquake in Chile, 8.6 on the Richter scale, caused a tsunami. It killed about 1,500 people in Chile and Hawaii. March 27, 1964, an earthquake measuring 8.4 on the Richter scale caused a tsunami in Alaska. 120 people died. August 23, 1976, a tsunami in the southwest of the Philippines claimed 8,000 victims. July 17, 1998, in Papua New Guinea, 2,200 people were killed by a tsunami caused by an earthquake measuring 7.1 on the Richter scale. What to do when your house floods? When you come back to your house after a flood, you should take care of several things. Clean up and dry things quickly. Leave the windows and doors. Check contamination from chemicals. For example, cleaning liquids may have spilled. If electricity cables are on the ground, do not go near them. Keep small children away from them. Eating or drinking anything contaminated by flood water can cause diarrhea disease. Wash your hands after contact with flood water. Do not allow your children to play in flooded areas and disinfect their toys to avoid contamination. If you or others have opened wounds such as cuts, they can get infected. Wash the wounds with soap and clean water. Then cover them with a waterproof bandage. If a wound turns red, if it swells up or liquid comes out, see a doctor. Insects can spread diseases. Protect yourself from mosquitoes by using insect repellents that contain DEET or picaridin. To avoid attracting rodents, remove potential sources of food. Remember to take these when you return home after a flood: official ID with photographs and proof of address, a list of important phone numbers, bottled water and non-perishable foods, a first aid kit, hand cleaning gel for personal use, hygiene products and toilet paper, insect repellent and sunscreen, long sleeve shirts, long pants, strong waterproof boots and work gloves, a flashlight, portable radio and extra batteries. Global warming. The earth is getting warmer. This global warming is caused by carbon dioxide, CO2, gases in the atmosphere. The gases are mostly produced by human activity, exhaust from cars, industries, and other sources of pollution. Global warming causes the ice in Antarctica to melt. This means more water in the oceans, and the ocean level rises. Countries that are close to the sea and regions that are at a low level will disappear under the water. One of these regions in Indonesia, where the tsunami happened in 2004, and Mexico, the state of Tabasco, is seriously at risk. In Europe, a country in danger is the Netherlands or Holland. Two cities that may flood are London in Great Britain and Venice in Italy. Protection against the water. Holland is known as the Netherlands, which means low lands. About 40% of the land is below sea level. Dikes protect the coast. An exceptional flood happened in 1953 and thousands of people died in the area near the coast. The government immediately started planning a large system of mobile dikes called Delta Workings or Delta Works. The system was completed in 1997 after almost 50 years of construction. What would happen if the water rose because of global warming? Would the Delta Works be sufficient to keep the land dry? The answer is that the government is making changes to the Delta Working to make the system safe. These adjustments should be ready in 2015. Unfortunately, not all countries have the technical know-how and the money to protect their coast. In many countries, floods will still be a danger.